So I guess it's kind of sad and disheartening to watch today's cynical, nihilistic, mean-spirited attempts to undermine, subvert and degrade those same heroes. Instead of respecting and looking up to them, it's become fashionable to mock and belittle and criticize them as relics of a bygone era, or symbols of oppression or discrimination, without really understanding what they stood for in the first place.
I've got a peer-reviewed study right here that says... says you're a pussy.
Kept you waiting, huh? Hi, I'm Karina McDaniels, and I'm here to talk directly into my computer monitor for the entertainment of tons of beautiful, sexy people. There's been a ton more of you recently, and this one was long requested. So, of my own volition, I decided to watch some Critical Drinker videos. I knew he existed before this, but haven't watched much of his content until now. But I kid you not, this was my first impression of him.
Gather round, dear viewer, as I tell you a tale. It's the tale of a woman who stood tall in the face of jealousy, cowardice, hatred, and vengeance, and dared to utter a single word. No. It's the story of the girl who wouldn't back down.
I am swiftly regretting every life choice I have ever made.
Wow, to say that you and me got off on the wrong foot would be the world's biggest understatement. Really? Dear God, this is RK Outpost all over again.
She even gave examples of other evil cults from other kingdoms who had once done similar things.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Good God, it sounds like he's fucking salivating over her. I mean, really? Out of all the people you could defend on the internet, it had to be this grade A glue sniffer, this brain-dead mongoloid who seriously said political division would cause the Holocaust, and not even 5 minutes later is working with a hyper-partisan dick munch Ben Shapiro? This woman who built a whole career off of acting like a complete jackass and being rightfully criticized for being a jackass? By the way, cancel culture seems to be hard at work, as always. Why is cancel culture a bad thing again? It seems to just elevate the worst and dumbest people to a point of importance they don't deserve. Like, why her though? Maybe if she was like an upstanding person, but she isn't. She's mostly a complete prick by all accounts. I mean, you throw a giant hissy fit because a few people asked you to add pronouns to your account. You know, Gina, you could have just ignored them instead of insulting an entire group of people, the beep bop boop fucking shit. You know, just a thought, Gina. I know you don't have a lot of those, so I'm being generous. What makes it funnier is that Critical Drinker never even liked Gina all that much before proclaiming her to be the hero of modern culture.
But for the life of me, I'll never understand why they cast Gina Corano. I mean, she's big and burly, and she obviously knows what she's doing when it comes to the fight scenes, but she's a fucking cage fighter, not an actor. Watching her trying to emote is almost as painful as watching Brie Larson trying to be funny.
To be fair though, the Fandom Menace didn't actually care about her either until they realized they could use her as a cancel culture bad mascot. And I guess at this point, they're back to not caring again because her 15 minutes of fame were up. Hopefully, it'll stay that way, cause she just sucks, and is also very dumb. I don't know if that came across, but she's very, how do I put this? Dim-witted? Yeah, that's nice. But, you know what? That's a bit unfair. He's made a lot of content. Dude has over 1 million subscribers. He's had to have done something good, right? Well, that's what you came here for. So let's pick something. Why do we need superheroes? Okay, maybe this one is good.
Comic books. You've got to love them, especially in the current year. Whether it's reimagining Bruce Wayne as an Asian American teenager accompanied by his gay butler Alfred, or a body-positive Wonder Woman that strikes fear into the hearts of all-you-can-eat buffets everywhere, or whatever these two are meant to be. The entire industry seems to have spent the past few years self-destructing. I mean, reinventing itself into something more diverse and inclusive. Now, call me crazy, but I do detect a faint resemblance here. The thing is, it would be easy enough for me to point and laugh at what's clearly just another cringeworthy, self-insertion vanity project doomed to fall into the garbage can of history, written by an author whose ego probably outstrips her creative ability, and commissioned by a struggling publisher desperate to appeal to a woke audience that probably should have allocated its declining resources to something with a better chance of success. Like burning money.
On second thought, oh boy, I see where this is going. I'm gonna go ahead and butt in here for a second and point out that DC comic book sales have been higher than they've ever been in history. So what's this bullshit about them burning money and that would be better? What, because some of the comics are bad and dumb? That's why comic books are imploding? Okay, that's literally the opposite of true, but okay. But you know what? Fuck all this shit. Let's skip to the actual point he wants to make. He's gonna tell us why we need superheroes. Tell us why, Critical Drinker.
I could do all of these things and probably have a good laugh along the way, but really, the bigger question that comes to mind for me is, what exactly are we becoming if this is the new standard for our comic book heroes? See, we've been doing this kind of thing for a lot longer than you might think. In fact, ever since us humans have been able to conceive of stuff beyond our own experience, we've been kind of fascinated by the idea of heroic characters embarking on epic adventures, righting wrongs, and defeating evil enemies. It's kind of the basis for our whole civilization.
I'm sorry, what the fuck? Citation needed, please? I mean, I get it. Human beings were fascinated by those who were beyond human. Good versus evil was a common theme in literature and early human history, but the basis of civilization? Of society? Excuse me? What? Huh? I can't say I follow that, but keep going.
Characters who could best be described as more than human. Men of destiny, men of great skill or superhuman strength that allows them to overcome the most powerful and terrifying enemies imaginable. Jump forward a few thousand years, and we're still doing the exact same thing with a new generation of heroes and villains that we've created all for ourselves. The classical heroes, gods, and monsters from our ancient legends have been replaced by modern-day reinterpretations, and instead of storytellers spinning their tales around a campfire, now we have comic books, movies, and TV to satisfy our needs. The technology might have changed, but the basic motivation hasn't. We still have the same drive and hunger for stories of larger-than-life heroes and villains, the same need to believe in things that are grander and bigger than our own petty existence.
I mean, sure, I guess. You know, you're making a lot of grandiose, overly general statements that make sense on the surface, but kind of fall apart when you really think about them. For instance, Critical Drinker is going on and on about how superheroes are the best reflection of humanity and they inspire us to do better and it's amazing and wonderful and cool and, I mean, sure, again, nothing overtly wrong with that statement, but until you kind of dig at it. In this video, he's showing us stock footage of Batman, Ghost Rider, Superman, and so on. Aren't these characters a little counterproductive to the point you're trying to make? I mean, okay, let's take Batman, for instance. Everybody knows Batman. Wealthy billionaire, parents got shot, learned how to fight, became a vigilante to protect those who can't protect themselves, had a Joker fight, blah, 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 blah. While he is the most relatable out of the superheroes, he's still, how do I put this? He's still pretty hard to relate to. Do you think the average person can relate to a man with inconceivable wealth who could take many years off to train how to kick ass and fight crime? Heroes often have relatable goals and perspectives, but that doesn't make them relatable in the sense that I could be that, you know, if that makes sense. That idea clashes with the whole heroes are meant to bring out the best and show us the best side of humanity and what we're capable of. Well, if you ask me, a lot of it is meant to be escapist fantasy. People understand that they can't really be a wealthy vigilante who puts their life on the line so they can save people in order to cope with losing people close to them. I mean, Superman is literally an alien from another planet with inhuman strength and powers not possible to obtain normally. And Ghost Rider is just Nicolas Cage hunting down demons because he was contracted by the devil himself to do so. How relatable. That really makes me want to be my best. I want to be Nicolas Cage one day. He also tries to tie humanity's technological advancements to superheroes, and while that isn't strictly speaking untrue, I think it more had to do with the harshness of the environment, not really because we had to be inspired to do so. We built all this stuff as a means to survive above all else. He also shows stuff like the moon landing of 1969, but humans are naturally curious beings. We already have it built into our evolution to explore things and map out the unknown. We didn't need that much motivating to get that going. It isn't the worst point ever, it's just kind of misleading. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this point is not overtly wrong on the surface, but when you really think about it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The video up to this point has been disjointed, to say the least. First he starts by mocking the Starfire comic pretty relentlessly, and then he goes on this long diatribe about how human history has idolized superheroes and how they make us want to be better. Alright, fair enough, but I don't see how this will convince me that we, quote-unquote, need superheroes. I mean, that's the title of the video. We need superheroes. I mean, superheroes are cool and everything, but in terms of things we need, I think food and water come first. You know, just my opinion. I'm sure that all I have to do is watch further in order to make it all make sense. Right? 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 I'm not right, am I?
I guess it's kind of sad and disheartening to watch today's cynical, nihilistic, mean-spirited attempts to undermine, subvert and degrade those same heroes. Instead of respecting and looking up to them, it's become fashionable to mock and belittle and criticize them as relics of a bygone era or symbols of oppression or discrimination without really understanding what they stood for in the first place. People who once looked to our heroes as symbols to aspire to, as a motivation to become more than they are, now see them as an unflattering reflection of their own weaknesses and failures. Rather than try to better themselves in their lives through hard work, courage and sacrifice, they instead find perverted joy in tearing down anything that stands higher than them.
Oh, I did not hear what I think I just heard. Okay, so he is upset about the cynical, nihilistic, mean-spirited attempts to undermine superheroes. And instead of respecting them, what exactly he's talking about, your guess is as good as mine. But the next part is even more egregious. It's become fashionable to bash superheroes and criticize... Wait, it has? I'm sorry. Apparently, nobody's been criticizing superheroes until now. Current year. Yeah, okay, sure. But even worse than that, I really have to ask, CD, what's wrong with criticizing superheroes? Do you don't really believe that superheroes should be above all criticism, that only bad people would want to tear them down?
And the end result of this way of thinking is a small, petty, envious view of the world. The kind of thing that belongs in the minds of small, petty, envious people who hide their dark intent behind a facade of compassion and fairness. The kind of people who hysterically preach acceptance of everything, no matter how ridiculous, harmful or pathetic. Because once you accept everything, then there's no need to strive for anything. Beep 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 beep. Beep 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 beep. Beep 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 beep.
Oh, now I see what this is. Critical Drinker is just whining about how bad journalists with opinions he doesn't like are criticizing my precious superheroes. Oh, boo fucking who, bitch. Cry me a river. Boo hoo hoo. It's not fair that media critics have negative opinions on people I like. Stop being mean to poor Batman. Superheroes made this society. Superheroes are what created great people in this world. But now we get shitty forced diversity characters because people hate superheroes too much. There's no bad characters and no bad plot lines before current year, but since comics have to cater to people who don't buy or care about comics, now everything is bad and wrong and dumb. Wait, no, don't question how that doesn't make any sense. I'm right because I know I'm right. Oh man, I wish I could say I was strawmanning, but the sad part is I'm not. I'm convinced if you watch this with a critical eye, you'd come to the same conclusion. This take is especially bad, coming from somebody who is all about film criticism and criticizing bad characters, which would include heroes. That's why I feel like I must be missing something, because this makes no sense coming from this guy. A CD, I take it as a given that I don't need to explain to you that nothing is above criticism. So, like, what the fuck is this? Even if those big bad SJW media critics have stupid takes on shit. So fucking what? And what? Who are they affecting? Nobody. And, I mean, you seriously think people are too critical of superheroes? Where the hell were you in the past few years? Superheroes have been all the rage for the past, 10 years. Not to mention, sometimes critics have good insight on the flaws of idolizing certain superheroes, especially ones like the Punisher being co-opted by asshole cops to justify hurting people. The Punisher is treated as the hero in the story because his motivations are relatable, but how he achieves his goals are far from ethical, bringing up questions of due process and the concept of vengeance itself. So, my final thoughts, I guess I could say is, wow, that was a lot worse than I expected. It was very meandering and didn't really say anything. I feel like in order to understand this video, you have to project a lot of your personal opinions and feelings onto it. If you don't, it just sounds like a bunch of vague platitudes that sound nice and pleasing, but have almost no substance behind them. If it was just that, I would have thought it was mediocre, but that last bit towards the end really felt like someone just farted directly into my face. So, is Critical Drinker overrated, is probably what you're wondering. Well, in my honest opinion, maybe a bit. I've watched some of his movie reviews and they weren't that bad. I mean, not as bad as this video was. This one was noticeably more disjointed than the others. It didn't even do what the title advertised. It explained why superheroes existed for a long time and why they're around now, but not at all why we need them. I guess aside from the stupid shit at the end, this is the biggest failing. How many likes does this have, I wonder? Oh. Speaking of things that make you want to drink, you'll have to excuse me. I'm Karina McDaniels. Please drink responsibly, my friends. I swear to God, if I have to talk about Gina Corano ever again, I swear I'm gonna lose it. Stop supporting this idiot. Support someone who isn't bottomlessly stupid, for the love of Christ.